Warming up the cannons. Nothing will stop me. Affirmative. Construction in progress.
I've got big guns and I cannot lie. The best way to see Rivellon is through the crosshairs of my double barrel. Big guy coming through.
It'll be built in a jiffy. Construction in progress.
Get us out of here, Commander!
Recruitment citadel completed. Dead set to it. We're out of recruits, Commander. Your unit will roll out momentarily, Commander. That rolling thunder in the distance. Those are enemy armors. Wall factory completed. Seems like the enemy is ready to construct devastators. Enemy devastators are moving faster than they did before, Commander.
On the trail!
Watch your footing, Commander. Enemy armors can deploy mines now. Say hello to my little friend.
Dear me, Commander. But I do believe one of your generals is smitten with an elf girl of the highest nobility. That means it's either Henry, who's intolerable, or Edmund, who's insufferable. I can only hope she'll soon come to her senses.
So, I see old Edmund is head over heels in love with a saucy bit of elven skirt. Never would have thought he'd get his little tail stirring over one of her kind.
May my mind forgive my heart, Commander, for it has poisoned it with honeyed venom, with that sweetest of all toxins, love. A part of me is nauseated for even uttering so saccharine a sentence, but I cannot help myself, as I have been enchanted by the super-earthly elegance of an elven belle. Her name, Elizabetha. Oh, dulcet set of syllables, the most beautiful damsel of woman born. Blessed be I, for she loves me too. There is but one obstacle in our course toward ultimate happiness, the most classic of lovers' impediments. Her father, Lord Larrodshire. May the plague beset his person. The lout detests me almost as much as I detest him. Already he has gone too far by calling me a swamper, the ultimate insult to us lizards. But this elf lord will be a hindrance no longer, for I intend to challenge him to a duel and be done with him. Under normal circumstances, I'd dismiss your advice as a showing of weakness. But reason insists you're right. I'll abide by his scurrilous manners for Elizabetha's sake, even if it takes all my force of will not to slice him open and eat his liver raw.
Done, Commander. The first of your dastardly siblings has fallen to your might. This victory will send terror leaping down the spines of your remaining opponents. Once more, we set an important step in the direction of victory. Bravo!
Edmund surprised us all, Commander. If he could win the approval and even friendship of surly Lord Larrodshire, he must have behaved. Behaved like an elf. Quite wonderful, if a little disturbing.
You'll be glad to know, Commander, that I followed your advice. Despite the tactless treatment I received from Lord Larrodshire, I was the very picture of gallantry at a dinner thrown in my honor by darling Elizabetha, during which I amazed them all by my command of elf etiquette in the ancient tongue. As the evening drew to a close and the ladies retired to the music room, the Lord poured me a brandy and apologized for his ill-chosen words uttered during previous occasions. I'm now quite at home when I visit the estate, enwrapped in a friendly warmth, weirdly welcomed by my cold-blooded self. Thus, I am the one most amazed, for never would I have thought myself capable of enjoying the company of others, let alone non-lizards. Love conquers all, if you'll forgive the platitude.
Commander, you have recently denied us a republic, but there are other matters still to which we would like to draw your attention. The late Emperor, your father, left behind an almost intangible patchwork of laws that all serve but one purpose: to drain the taxpayers' pockets by any means and at every turn. We'd like you to undo these laws. Clear the air. Think how much more effectively the government could work if it wasn't shackled by so many obscure rules and legislations. And that would be a tremendous payoff.
Just as people must offer prayer and donations to the gods, so must they pay their respects to the government by means of taxes, Commander. Prospero's proposal is therefore both uncivil and sacrilegious.
I really don't know why Prospero would bother with such trifles, Commander. No one likes to pay taxes, but the war effort requires a well-stuffed treasury. I'd leave things as they are for now.
Your father created those laws for a very good reason, Commander. He ran the greatest empire the world had seen until his damnable offspring took it from him. He needed the money, plain and simple.
Dear me, no, Commander. Many of our factories run on government funds. What if they shrink? Our production will stagger. Can't have that. Indeed, we can't.
Those laws are nothing but insidious ways of cheating the populace, Commander. We ask them for taxes so we can run an empire, but they get no honesty, no exploitation in return. I had thought Falstaff capable of such things, but not you.
Commander, I heard about your little tete-a-tete with those raiding rascals. Boom went the dam. A marvelous intervention, I must say. thank you for listening to Lohana's concerns. After that awful techno-veg debacle, she needed a public victory that verifies where her loyalties lie. With her own people.
You find me in a reflective mood, Commander. The bottom of a wine glass can serve as a gypsy's crystal, you see. Gaze upon it long enough, and times long past come parading afore one's eyes. As you can imagine, I was an exceptionally gifted child that outranked his schoolmates to such a degree I started to shun them, for their imbecility insulted me. The academic world, too, quickly discovered and quickly discarded, had precious little to offer. Clueless they all were, professors and students alike, like flies bumping up against glass. No, it was in the army that I found my true calling, for the enemy I defeat on the battlefield is defeated forever. Those I outwit in combat die. Such is the triumph of intellect. With each new victory, my detest for all that is non-lizard grows. They call it bigotry. I call it logic. Now, logic is the study of valid reasoning, and no argument can undo the time-tested principle of my superiority over all others. There is them, the inane and uncivilized masses, and there is me, a lone beacon of ageless intelligence and sophistication, steadfast amid tossing seas of stupidity. Events aboard the Raven have almost invariably confirmed my unequivocal eminence. Let solitude therefore be my lot, and indeed my one friend. For the glory of my station allows no other companions, even if they be a dragon. But enough of this introspection, Commander. Let us fill our wine glasses anew.
Good grief, Commander, calamity! You never told us the dwarves would be angry if we blew up their dam. How were we to know? They've gone and bombed our firework plants, the louts. What will we do come St. Pulverus Bonfire Week? It's not a party unless half the revelers lose a couple of fingers.
Pardon my indiscretion, Commander, but have you gone completely off your rocker? I hear it was you who authorized the attack on our dam for no other reason than to satisfy that flower child consort of yours' lunatic whims. Now, between you and me, I understand very well the lengths we go to keep our women satisfied, but resorting to wholesale sabotage truly goes beyond the pale. If you start acting like an elf, you'll become one, Commander. Illogical, emotional, and hankering after beats. Bah!
My sweet, you did it! You said you'd send imps to blow up that dam, and you kept your word. The wildland drought has ended, and the speckled jackal is saved. Well, I couldn't have imagined a better present for what is more beautiful than the preservation of life itself, its triumph in the face of industry. Of course, the dwarves did not take their defeat lightly, and retaliated by blowing up a couple of imp firework factories, a blow well beneath the belt, for you can imagine the rage with which this attack was received amongst our pyrotechnic-loving pals. What is a minor concession in our eyes is a tragic loss in theirs. But though I condemn the dwarves' cowardly action, I can't but smile and be happy knowing we put aside our qualms and did what we felt was right. I do feel we should repay the imps somehow, demonstrate our gratitude. But how do you comfort an imp bereft of fireworks? Any gift I can offer will seem as paltry and as useless as handing a healing potion to a man just beheaded.
Henry. How his vagaries amuse me. A woman that rejects him must therefore not be interested in men, so goes his logic. As if one can blame any woman romanced by that buffoon to abstain from men forever.
You know I don't hold a high opinion of men in general, Commander. But Henry does go out of his way to reaffirm what some would call my prejudices. I'm glad Scarlet saw the light and kicked him out of her bed. Even a girl as frivolous as her can do infinitely better.
Damn that loudmouth, Henry. I'll emasculate him with a pair of pincers if he doesn't hold his tongue. We've been having a bit of fun, you know. Casual-like, but, now I told him that the fun's over, he's telling everyone I must be into girls all of a sudden because that's the only explanation for rejecting a true blue man like him. Filthy pig. How dare he? How? But... Oh, fudge, what's the use? Why would I stand here and pretend before the dragon, the ruler of worlds? Never have I said this to anyone, Commander, but it is true. I am a lesbian. There. The die has been cast. When I was 16, you see, I first fell in love with another girl. But when my parents found out, they were furious. Threatened to disown me and sent me to military school. They vowed that if I'd show any sign of being attracted to another girl ever again, they'd never more show me kindness or affection. That is the secret I've lived with ever since. I force myself to sleep with men, but it is all a farce. A hollow way of ever so shallowly satisfying hidden, unacknowledged needs. I was forced to live a life of lies, and believe me, I can handle it, but I can't bear to have my real nature dangled in front of me as a means of mockery. Thank you, Commander. To have your support means a great deal to me, more than you can imagine. Perhaps one day I'll be free. Free to be who I am. We'll see.
What the hell is the matter with Scarlet? Here we're having some extracurricular horizontal recreation, and suddenly she bails on me. I tell you, she must have knocked her head against the door and started liking girls all of a sudden. No woman denies herself my affections from one moment to the next.
You remain true to your my privilege. Construction underway, Commander. We're out of recruits, Commander.
To know your enemy, you have to kill your enemy.
Is that a tree? Well, not anymore. Battle Forge completed. Construction in progress. It'll be built in a jiffy.
Nothing I can't handle.
Your unit will roll out momentarily, Commander. Construction underway, Commander.
All oiled up and ready to go? Grenadier, fresh from the barracks.
Unit is being manufactured, Commander.
Who will break? Who will bend? Cover me with death if I should fail.
That's impossible, Commander. That's impossible, Commander. Wall factory completed. Those fools are trying to sink us. The enemy can carry troops right across the seas with their transports, Commander.
I will rain hell on them. Hail and kill.
Another kill on the counter!
I've noticed a peculiar change in Scarlet, Commander. She seems happier somehow, less prone to take rash decisions in combat. She's almost of value to us. Wouldn't that be a treat?
I know Scarlet shared something with you, Commander. Something deeply personal, and it's not hard for me to guess what that something was. It gladdens me to see that you have treated her with respect. So very unmanly of you. That's a compliment, by the way.
When I see your face, it is like a beacon of light, Commander. Such is the relief that I have a person to confide in, that it feels as if I have been pushing a boulder uphill all my life, and that now I can finally let it go. Watch it tumble downhill and out of sight. Glory be to the Emperor, whom I may call my friend.
Don't worry, Commander. I didn't breathe another word about Scarlet and her ways. It's a relief to know I was right all along, though. When a woman says no to me, we all know what that means. Not interested in men. Period.
Commander, if we elves think something is of supreme importance, it is the happiness of all people. For those with rejoicing hearts do no evil and look upon the world with kindness. We also believe they will fight harder for their country if pressed. For a new overlord may not hold their welfare in high regard. Clearly, this will benefit you in times of need. So, how can we increase the happiness of a huge part of your citizenry? By allowing them to form unions so they can stand up for themselves better. What do you say?
Unions? What blasphemy. People shouldn't emancipate themselves in factories. They should prostrate themselves before the gods in the Seven glorious temples. Let the people organize and they'll suddenly make all sorts of silly demands. Advocate not happiness, Commander, but humility.
It's not that the idea of unions offends me, Commander, but in times of war, we just cannot afford the side effect unions tend to bring about. Strikes, protests, you know the sort of thing. No, I advise against Oberon's proposal.
Frightfully bad idea, Commander. You allow unions, and before you know it, concerns about working conditions are raised. They'll shut down every arms factory we own. Won't make us imps any happier, that.
A triumph for the laborer. Let our enemies assail our lands now. People will fight for the liberties they have been granted, for they know slavery awaits if they do not.
Excellent, Commander. Simply excellent. I realize I may seem like a cynical old sorcerer when I receive the news of one of your siblings' deaths with such relish. But if it hastens our progress to peace, may one fall neath your blade every day.
Oh, my sweet, my love, how my heart rejoices at your approach. Like the buttercup tracks the sun across the sky, so does my very being find in you its beacon. Our marriage is still young, yet it seems ages since last I frequented Elven Court, a home and shelter so wholly different from this golden raven. There I lived among my kinsmen alone, raised to be the living embodiment of our traditions. But here I reside among the rambunctious representatives of all the civilized races. A world of difference. A better world. Oh, whereby I have earned such a blessed fate I know not, but I praise myself lucky each day anew. How naive I was. How much of a mere child. Elven traditions, they kept me menial and closed-minded. But you have shown me there is so much more to the world. Values to be found in others' customs, even if my kind vilifies them as vices. A child no longer. I have become a woman. For this I have you and you alone to thank. You have made me blossom, my darling dragon. My everlasting love is yours.
much more base and depraved can a soul get when it seeks the death of a child to further its interests? Henry and I may not always see eye to eye, but if I can save his daughter, I will do what I can. And Scarlet feels the same.
Commander, we have anxiously awaited your return, for our spies brought dire news. Some obscure nobleman by the name of Drury has ordered top assassins to kidnap and kill Henry's daughter Anne. Her death would crush him, and that's exactly how that prick tries to get the attention of our enemies. By robbing you of one of your generals, he seeks the same post in their armies. You know there'd be no stopping Henry. He sped off home the instant he heard the news, so now Catherine and I would like your permission to go after him. If he has to face those backstabbing bastards, we want to face them with him. Yes, Commander! We'll hack them to pieces and be back in time for happy hour.
Henry has a spot of daughter trouble, has he? These teenage girls, they're all the same. Scarlet and Catherine actually want to abandon ship and rush to her rescue. Can you imagine? At least I have the sense of duty to remain here in the epicenter of your power, where generals are truly needed. Well, there's that, and the fact that I just can't be bothered.
A demon I have bound, but sometimes I wonder who the true captive is. It takes my utter concentration not to be trapped by his tempting promises. It shall be my honor. Behold how powerful the dragon had become. Many of his rivals had fallen, and victory seemed inevitable. But then Corvus the demon, cruel and cunning as he was, decided to intervene, for he did not want the war to end. He infested all the Empire's enemies, using terrible blood magic. Though he remained bound to the Raven, he was now present in all of the dragon's foes. Enthralled, they became stronger and more vicious than ever. The final battle between dragon and demon had begun. Commander, a word, quickly. Devilry has befallen us that may yet spell our doom, just when the end was in sight. It is Corvus. He has escaped from my bonds. Too tranquil was I in the delusion that I had him shackled for good, but no! He has flown, or rather multiplied, in infinite demonic shards that hold a firm grip over every single one of our enemies, and empowers them with hellish might. Each foe we now face will be much more powerful than he was before, and it will take our forces their utmost to vanquish them. You I forewarn, Commander, but let the rest not know of this demon influence, or else all faith in victory would plummet like a stricken bird. You, and you alone, can now accomplish what we set out to do. One dragon will have to face an endless number of demon-driven fiends, and desolate them all. I know you can, my friend. Show them why you, none other, are the Dragon Commander.
Dear, oh dear. It seems my esteemed colleagues made a mess of things. But why blame them, really? Takes those blockheads of counselors, of course, not to know any confrontation with hardened assassins is bound to leave a trail of, a variety of things. Blood, ash, and general destruction come to mind. Perhaps I should have gone with them after all. Sounds like they had a jolly old time.
Your generals are out of control, Commander. Now, I appreciate they stood together to rescue Henry's daughter, but when the end result has a tally of 2 incinerated buildings, a ruined hall of industry, and a few dozen dead or wounded, it seems to me they were a tad too enthusiastic. They may be used to battlefields alone these days, but we do not tolerate such mayhem in our cities. Someone needs to pay.
We accomplished our mission, Commander, but I shudder to think at what cost. No wonder the councillors are in an uproar.
Good to see you, Commander. I've been meaning to thank you for the role you've played in the rescue of my dear Anne. 'Twould have been another story entirely had Catherine and Scarlet not come to my aid. Wonders of women. You should have seen us. And we reached before those bloody assassins did. But they beset us in far greater numbers than we could have foreseen. They used imp-throwing bombs, lizard arrows tipped with poison, dwarf axes that could cut through steel, but we held them off time and again. We 3 duelists, shoulder to shoulder. Of course, there was a touch of collateral damage, I suppose. One of those imp devices rolled right into an undead kindergarten. But really, those skeletal scamps are already dead to begin with, right? I thought it was rather funny. A shower of bones, it was. Came clattering down like dry hail. Is that a reason to be a killjoy and scream bloody murder? 'Cause that's what those gods-be-damned councillors of yours are doing. They demand restitution and the likes. I've half a mind to demonstrate what functionalities come with this arm of mine, and where they can put them. I suppose not. So what happens next? I have to pay a fine or something? Do community service for the undead? Air out some crypts and polish their coffins? Bah! By every demon ass in hell, the things we do for our children, Commander.
We did it, Commander. Anne has been rescued. Hardest fight I ever fought, but it was worth it. I'm sorry to say, though, those damned assassins spared not the citizens that stood in their way. Many died, but not by our blades.
Commander, thanks to your generous approval, the unions we elves sought to found have indeed been created. As true spokesmen for their fellows, union men have been quite vocal in their struggle to increase working conditions and the general standards of life. Their greatest complaint is that very many laborers receive only the most minimal of wages, and I think it is only fair to copiously increase them. For remember, Commander, defend the populace's prosperity and happiness, and they in turn will defend your empire valiantly in its hour of need. Bravo, Commander! And believe me, the extra cost your kingdom will incur shall pale in comparison with the boost to morale extra wages will give the people.